You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Today we have our second host call of the weekend. So really excited after going through yesterday's questions. We had some amazing ones. We really went in depth on a lot of them. So I do hope that you check out that show. So now today though, what I want to do is I want to go back over, I want to actually visit now 5 new additional questions. So these are questions that have obviously come in over the past week or two. They're completely different than we've had in the past. And really I want to get right into them. So let's begin. The first question is from Melissa. So Melissa wrote in, Dr. Cabral, I enjoy listening to your podcast and thank you for all of the wonderful information you provide. After having my third baby 3 years ago via C-section, I have had significant pain in my stomach after eating meals. This began occurring 6 weeks post-delivery and does not seem to be related to any specific food. It typically occurs within 30 minutes after meal and can last for hours. I'm extremely bloated. I am 40 pounds overweight, even though I eat very healthy, around 1,200 to 1,400 calories daily of fresh produce, and exercise daily. I've had a multitudes of tests, gallbladder, ultrasounds, liver, blood tests, colonoscopy, endoscopy, allergies, all of these sorts of different things that Melissa writes about. She then talks about itchiness and dry skin and trying to use different lotions that have come on, iron stores being low. So all of these different things. And again, as always, simply go to stephencabral.com/podcast. And you can always read all of the questions in depth. Also, if you're on iTunes, you can also just look under the show notes as well. That will show you the full question. What I like to do though, is I want to make sure we get to everyone's question today. And just know, Melissa and everyone else, I've already read your question in depth. And again, I do know how to help you. If I don't know how to help you for whatever reason it might be, I will simply say so and I will give you an area to begin looking at. Okay. So let's look at Melissa's question. Now, this happened after a C-section. What do we know about C-section based deliveries? Usually, the mom is given antibiotics, right? So if we know someone's been given antibiotics and then they're suffering from digestive-based issues, we can say this is a very clear correlation between imbalanced gut bacteria and poor digestion that happened directly after being given antibiotics. So I want all the women out there to know that if possible, you want to be really careful when you are taking antibiotics because they do have repercussions. Now, if you do have to take antibiotics for whatever reason it might be, and it does happen, what I want you to think about is what we spoke about on yesterday's Cabral House call, and that's getting immediately into, while you're using the antibiotics and right afterwards, for at least 30 to 90 days, is a gut rebuilding protocol. And again, anything that I mentioned for nutritional supplements or tests or whatever, it's always in the show notes. So you can obviously just go to today's show notes. But also you can go to stephencabral.com/store. You'll find everything there. Again, it's for your education, your information. If you decide to purchase something, that's fantastic as well. But really, it's meant to educate you and to provide you with what I do in my practice. So, for example, with Melissa here, it looks like it's a very clear indication that she has some type of yeast overgrowth or bacterial overgrowth, something like SIBO, in relation to her taking antibiotics or other medications that it might be related to her childbirths. So, let's look at it this way. If we don't remove that candida, that yeast, that bacteria, whatever it might be, anytime you're eating foods, you're going to cause an inflammatory base reaction, or you're at least going to cause some type of fermentation in the gut. That fermentation in the gut then leads to the bloating, the gas, the symptoms that you're now experiencing. And also, you most likely have a little bit of low stomach acid. If you're feeling symptoms right away within 30 minutes of your meal, that food is still in your stomach as well. So what we're looking at is probably a very good chance there's some type of yeast overgrowth as well as bacterial overgrowth that can be tested with an organic acids test. Again, you can find that on our store or at a functional medicine practitioner near you. Or you can just begin the Candida and bacterial overgrowth protocol that we have. Some people just choose to do that. They choose to not lab test and just go right into the treatment protocol and assume that they do have it. You can do whatever works for you. Simply whatever works for you works best. And then also you're going to want to strengthen that digestive system. So ginger tea with whole food meals, absolutely I would recommend that. And I would use a digestive enzyme. Hands down, absolutely. That's exactly what I would do. So beyond that, if you want more specific advice, you would want to lab test. You really would want to look at that. And that's how you find out the exact underlying root causes. But again, I don't think you need to go down the route of betaine, HCl, and bile and all of that. But I do think hot ginger tea with meals, just a small amount, that will get that acid, that would get the heat going in the stomach. You could also use a little bit of apple cider vinegar with meals. However, I'm not recommending that with you because it is fermentable, and that's not good in the beginning when you have candida and you have yeast and you have bacterial overgrowth. If you do our candida and bacterial overgrowth protocol, you'll also get the safe food list, which allows you to eat fruits and veggies and carbohydrates that won't actually ferment in your gut so that you don't have to go carb free, which is not something that I recommend, especially when you have lots of stress, little kids running around the house that you need the energy for. So, Melissa, that seems like it's pretty clear, and that's exactly what I would do without, of course, having met you in practice. So those are my recommendations. Lizzie's up next. Hi, Dr. Stephen Cabral. I have recently felt pain in my right knee for the past couple weeks. It hurts to fully extend and just feels off. I eat very well, mostly organic veggies, coffee in the AM, nothing crazy, not sure what this could be from. I work out 4 times a week, doing yoga, spinning, and boot camps. Can inflammation travel? I do also have very weak ankles and wonder if it's connected. I'm still working out and trying to ignore the subtle pain. Even in a plank, it hurts to fully straighten my leg, but I am forcing it, thinking it will clear up on its own. Come to think of it, I also have pain, soreness in my left shoulder, but also continue to work out with light weights during exercise. I'm 32, 120 pounds, fit. Try my best to do it all right. Please help. Thank you. Lizzie, it sounds like you're doing a fantastic job, and obviously you are a model for living a good, healthy lifestyle. But having said that, things can still come up. They happen to the best of us. Without a doubt, we just have to deal with it. Now, again, I've never met you in person. However, you sound like one of those healthy, fit people in my practice who just seem to be exercising. Maybe it's too much. I don't think it's necessarily the case in your case, but the exercises that you're doing seem to be very quad dominant. Now, all the personal trainers right now listening to this, and the PTs, physical therapists, chiropractors, osteopaths, they'll know what I'm talking about. It means that you're doing exercises that are more quadriceps, so front of your leg dominant. And when that happens, it creates an imbalance with your hamstrings, your glutes, and basically the posterior chain muscles on the back of the body. That can lead to your shoulder-based issues, knee-based issues, and eventually lower back-based issues. So here's what it is. When you're doing spinning, you're predominantly using those hip flexors, your TFL, your psoas muscles, your quad muscles, the vastus medialis especially, that's a nice big one, your IT band, iliotibial band, your calves. Okay, when you're doing boot camps, same thing. The reason is they don't have the right type of equipment to be able to do a lot of pulling-based exercises or posterior-based exercises or hip-dominant-based exercises. But I'm going to give you what those are in one moment. And then you're doing yoga, which is absolutely fantastic as well. However, in yoga, it's still body weight, and it's so incredibly difficult unless you're doing poses like Brave Warrior and others that allow you to get a little bit of the hamstring and the gluten there involved. So tying way back to my yoga instructor days. So actually never a true yoga instructor, became a certified yoga instructor, but only to use it in depth in my practice to know more about it. So a little caveat, a little change of that right there. So what am I recommending? I'm recommending posterior chain exercise. I am recommending rows. I am recommending Romanian deadlifts, not regular Olympic deadlifts, Romanian deadlifts. I'm recommending a reach to a row. I'm recommending anything that's going to work your hamstrings and glutes more than your quadriceps, which means we're going to lie off the squats for a little while, and we're going to lie off the lunges, although that's a hybrid, and do more of those sitting back exercises. Swings would be another great one with kettlebells. And again, you've heard me talk about that on previous Training Thursdays. So try that. More hamstring, more glute-based work, less of the squats, less of the front squats for right now. Yes, some lunges, especially walking lunges, which will get into your glutes a little bit more. So try that. Look into that. And again, if not, try to find a really really good qualified muscular therapist, physiotherapist, someone that can do a little bit of muscle activation to get those posterior chain muscles, especially like your glutes, working and functioning a little bit better to take some of the pressure off of those quadricep and knee muscles. And the truth is, you might just need a week off. Give yourself a week off. Just rest. Nothing's going to happen. Your body's still going to be in great shape. Rest, meditate, relax, just for 1 week. See if it gets better. Could be an overuse injury, but still, the same exercises I just mentioned still apply. Check those out. Okay, next up is Leilani. And Leilani says, Dear Dr. Cabral, thank you for all your podcasts and all the information you provide. It is very much enjoyed and appreciated. I have a dental question. I need 4 crowns and would like to know what material you recommend as safe inside the mouth. All the information out there is overwhelming and confusing and would like to finally have the work done, but want to feel confident that I'm getting the safest and most biocompatible options available. I apologize if this already has been covered. In kind regards, Leilani. All right, Leilani, great question, and I'm not sure that we covered this exactly before, so I'm happy to talk about it again, especially if it's your specific question. This is for you. So this is your 2 minutes right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about finding a good qualified biological dentist or holistic dentist. I'm telling you, you need to find a good naturopath or great functional medicine nutritionist, functional medicine practitioner, and you need to find a good biological and holistic dentist because one person is going to be working on the kind of health of your body and another person is going to be working on the health of your mouth, which matters so much. But remember, so I studied biological dentistry with my doctoral degree in naturopathy. However, I'm not an expert on dental-based work at all. Now, studied in depth, read many books on it, worked with a holistic dentist, so I know about it. But what I'm going to recommend, find a holistic dentist in your area and then make sure that you use the recommendations that I'm about to give you right now. Okay, first things first. The safest thing that we can typically put in our mouth is something that is non-metal. Okay, so we don't want to add different electrical current, literally currents, into our body if possible. But and this is a big thing, when you're using screws or implants, it usually has to be a metal. Now, that's typically titanium or zirconium as the 2 most favored, least what's the best word to look for? Well, I don't know the best word to say that. So they cause the least amount of damage in the body or least amount of repercussions. So if you can go with titanium or zirconium, which a lot of the good biological dentists are using right now, that's the latest in research. And then you're using the ceramic implant or ceramic crown, one of those specific things that is non-reactive in your mouth, then you're going to be in your best position to make sure that you have good long-term dental health. You want to stay away from as many of the other metals, such as aluminum, such as mercury, such as different composites as well. And what you want to do is, again, go for anything more ceramic-based. Now, certain biological dentists will actually test your reactivity against the specific metals before they even put them in your body. Now, that's next level. There's not a lot that do that, but all you have to do is look at biological dentists in your specific area, okay? Holistic dentists in your area, then call them and see what are their protocols. A lot of times, a good biological dentist will also write on their website, tell you exactly what they do. Now, if it matches up with what I just said, and they also use a full protocol for mercury amalgam removal, which means they use the specific venting in the rooms. They use a rubber-based dam to make sure that none of the mercury gets in your mouth. You'll know, and that they use gas masks for themselves, that you'll know they're on that highest level, and so that you can pretty much trust what they do have to say. And I'll be talking about more of that trust factor, who to look for on tomorrow's show as well. So tune in for that. One last point about this is that if you currently have a metal in your mouth and you're not going to have it removed, let's say like gold. Now, I know gold is more expensive, but it's one of the better ones to actually keep in the mouth if you do have that. So meaning that you could use gold again if needed, but you never want to mix metals. So essentially, you don't want to put aluminum, gold, and all these different types of metals in your mouth. That's when they find the biggest issues. So they find issues, of course, with silver amalgams because they begin to leak as you chew and they upturn as the tooth deteriorates actual mercury into as a vapor directly into your bloodstream. That obviously is not a good thing. But let's say you have a different metal, such as gold or something like that, and you just have to use a certain metal because that's what your dentist is using, that's what you feel comfortable with. Don't mix metals. When you mix metals inside your body, then you have different currents, you have different frequencies between metals. That's how they operate, that's how they work, and that is going to not most likely I should say, but in susceptible people cause an actual reaction and an issue. Okay. Let's move on. Anne is up next. Anne asks, what is your recommendation for the most safest and healthiest cutting boards? There are so many to choose from: bamboo, plastic, wood, etc. Okay, so this is an excellent question. And so let's go through it right now. You would always use wood. Wood was always used throughout history, okay? You could also, things like limestone were also used too. I shouldn't say that. So limestone was used to cut with, and you could actually get the minerals from the limestone inside of when you ground up things and when you cut things as well. So that was useful. But a few hundred years ago, more likely, we were using all sorts of different types of wood as a cutting board. Plastics are fairly recent. Now, the issue with plastics, well, I should say this. Plastics were thought to be better because they would harbor less microbes, pathogens, bacteria than wood, or so we thought. But what happens is when they do actual testing, plastic holds on to more bacteria than actually the natural antimicrobial properties of wood. Surprise, surprise, nature beats out man once again. But also, when you're cutting food on plastic cutting boards, the little particles, because you can see the slices in the cutting board with the plastic, those pieces of plastic are then going into your food. Not ideal, not good. It changes your hormones, disrupts hormones. It's a toxin, not good for your body at all. So here's my recommendation. Here's what I do. I actually use bamboo cutting boards. Now, I've used other types of cutting boards, but you asked for my personal recommendation. What do I do? I'll try to find one, link it up in the show notes as well. I like the bamboo cutting boards. One, it's a sustainable wood. So I like the fact that bamboo, it grows very slowly for those first few months and first year, and then after that, it just takes off. So it's a sustainable type of wood to be using, and I like that. So it's good for the environment. The second is that it's lightweight, and it holds up to a good amount of abuse. So that is why I like it as well. You could even put them in the dishwasher if you wanted to, but we just use we use coconut oil a lot of times on the cutting boards. The coconut oil is antimicrobial. It also keeps the wood nice and fresh, so just a little extra tip for you as well. And again, you can use time wipes if you want to wipe off some of that bacteria if you're cutting meat on it. But for the most part, you can just give it a nice little rinse with soap and water and you'll be good to go. Some people do, again, put them in the dishwasher. That's totally your choice. It will break down the cutting board faster. But again, bamboo cutting boards aren't that expensive in the first place. That's what I use. That's my recommendation right now. I will let you know if things ever change. Okay, next question. Let's see who this is from. It is from Ashley. Ashley's up next. Hi, Dr. Cabral. I seem to eat all the time, but never really feel full or satiated. I'm not overweight and I choose healthy, real foods, but it seems I could literally eat all day long. What causes this? All right, so this is an actual podcast that I just did, and that's the reason you didn't see this, is that you actually asked this question right before I did the episode, probably about a week before. So Ashley, you are in luck, and we have a whole show dedicated to your answer. Simply go to stephencabral.com/404, and it was called The Two Hormones That Regulate, I think the show is called How to Crush Food Cravings, and it talks about leptin and ghrelin and how these two hormones actually dictate whether you're hungry or not. One of those hormones is actually called the hunger hormone. So it is not until you balance these hormones will you ever then feel satiated. So please do look into that show. Really, really important. You obviously want to make sure that you're getting all of your macronutrients, which is calorie-wise, but you also want to make sure you're getting all of your micronutrients, which your body will continue to be hungry if you're not getting all of the vitamins and minerals. Remember, it's not just about proteins, fats, and carbs. It's about the actual minerals. It's about what is contained within all of those macronutrients. So definitely check out that episode. It tells you in depth exactly what you're looking for an answer and how to feel satiated once again. So again, we answered, I just want to make sure we got to everybody today. We answered Melissa's question on the C-section and the bloating. We answered Lizzie's question on the knee pain. We answered Leilani's on the type of dental work to have done. Anne's question on the healthiest cutting boards. And Ashley's, so we got them all on why she never feels satiated. So that is it. That's today's house call. We got through it quickly. So that's fantastic. That will leave you more time now to catch back up on previous shows. If you haven't already done so, check those out. Just go to stephencabral.com/podcast. And of course, I'll be back tomorrow with our Mindset and Motivation Monday. I do hope you will join me then. Take care, everyone. Before you go, I wanted to ask you this question. What if I could teach you in just a couple of hours how to transform your thyroid, hormones, adrenal, cholesterol, blood pressure, blood sugar, weight loss, energy, mood, brain, pregnancy, anti-aging, or many other health-related issues? After 20 years in private practice, after seeing and overseeing 250,000 client appointments, I sincerely feel I have the real-world data and have found the answer you've been searching for. So what I've done is spent hundreds of hours of my own time refining what you need to know in order to uncover your underlying root cause health issues and then begin to rebalance the body and bring it back to a state of robust health and wellness. I'm going to teach you exactly what I do in my private practice so you can understand how you got here and now what you need to do in order to heal. You'll receive all of the important success checklists, protocols, and even ways to customize it to make the program fit your busy life. And you'll get all of this at a fraction of the price. Let me save you the time, money, energy, stress, and frustration of not knowing what to do next. Instead of reading dozens of books on the topic and seeing multiple practitioners, I will condense everything that you need to know in just a few hours of video tutorials that you can watch and listen to anywhere. Together, we will make this healing process an enjoyable one that you can take with you for the rest of your life. I wish you all of the best of health and happiness, and I hope to be able to guide you on your healing journey through my Health Results Accelerators. Simply choose the health imbalance you're currently suffering from, and by the end of today, you'll know what went wrong and how to get well again. I guarantee it. For details, head over now to stephencabral.com/courses.